So I think, one of the biggest things managers now say to me is, Chris, I'm really worried about the new generations that are coming into the workplace, and also the new job roles that are coming into the workplace. We know that these job roles that exist today that won't exist tomorrow, and job functions that don't exist today that will exist tomorrow, and that's the sort of biggest fear. Now, what we've done in our organisation is made sure that we don't really worry about that too much. What we concentrate in is making sure that all our managers within our organisation have got the right tools, the right experiences, the right skill set to be able to actually be a good leader and a good manager. That's what's absolutely key. Now, for us, what we've done is we've utilised our levy. We've utilised our apprenticeship levy to ultimately put together a management development programme that puts somebody on a training course for 2 years. And it gives them all the skills, knowledge and behaviours that they will need to literally have anybody within their workplace. Now, if I sort of think about it for a second and think about the changes that we've made in the last 2 years, if I think back to the old school training that I would do as a management development programme, I'd always get that sheet at the end that said, yeah, Chris is a great trainer. What a great trainer. Yeah, this guy's great. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And ultimately, a lot of that was based on the fact that I gave them really good coffee, a great lunch, and I'd put them in a good hotel overnight. And I'd make sure that they came and had, a bit of a good sort of jolly, if that makes sense. But that's now changed. Since we utilised the levy, since we put in together our new management development programme, what now happens is somebody comes on a training course, and yes, I still give them great coffee and great lunch and great hotels, etc. But ultimately, 8 weeks later, what they now have is one of my team who's assigned to them as their business coach to say to them, right, that learning that you did 8 weeks ago, prove to me that you've put it into the business. Show me how that's been put into the business and show me the impact. Because ultimately what we're doing is we're utilising that evidence to prove that they've gone through that programme that we've put together, and obviously for the needs of the apprenticeship and the apprenticeship levy. And that's really, really great. And now what happens is at the end of 2 years is we send them off to the Chartered Management Institute and we say, right, Chartered Management Institute, there's my manager. I think he's a really great manager. Go and question him. Go and ask him all the questions about being a great leader and a great manager and all them lovely things. And they give him the rubber stamp. Not me, the CMI, the experts give him the rubber stamp to say, this guy's a great manager and a great leader. And I think it's about preparing these people for the things that we don't know yet what exists. It's getting them ready so that when they do come through, that person there is the best they can be to bring that person into the workplace. I think if we look at Carl Jung's colour profiles, I'm sure everybody watching this has had some exposure to that. Let's look at the colour profile of a typical learning and development professional. Off the scale yellow. Everything's fine, everything's rosy, it'll all be great, all of that lovely stuff. And I think when we get these questionnaires that come out that say, yeah, we're great, we file that and we go, yeah, we're great. And that's just how superb we are. But actually, I'd really question all of these individuals as to really look at what percentage of the training that you're delivering in the workplace is then being put in and utilised within the workplace and is giving an impact in terms of productivity, in terms of staff engagement, in terms of staff retention. What impact is that having? Because if you don't know that figure, all you're doing is scoring yourself on them lovely sheets where you're giving the coffee. And that's of no use to anybody. I think the government is clearly taking us down a path where companies are contributing and have to contribute now into a levy, which is the government saying, you will train your people. You will increase the productivity of your staff. You will make us a nation that can compete with European nations in terms of the productivity per head. You will also make sure that all these people have the right functional skills to be able to survive in the business world. That's the route that they are taking. If as a learning and development professional, you can't see that, and you are not going out to get your assessing qualification, if you are not exploring the opportunities of utilising your levy within a business, then you are in grave danger. Grave danger. It's relatively simple, to be perfectly honest, because there are trailblazing groups from large organisations which have actually put together what a good leader and a good manager should look like. And I use leader and manager as an example. This could be anything. It could be customer service, it could be admin, it could be engineering, it could be any of them things. These trailblazer groups have put these programs together so that learning and development departments know exactly what they need to deliver to somebody to make them have the skills, knowledge and behaviours that they need to succeed in the role that they're doing. All employers need to now be doing is either utilising their own Levy pot as an employer provider, or speaking to other organisations, and they can have a chat with me if they want. I'll be open, I'll be happy to speak to anybody about how they can deliver apprenticeships within their business. The only thing I would say is the government doesn't make it easy. There's going to be Ofsted regulations, there's going to be ESFA regulations, you're going to need a compliance team to put it all together. But the impact it will have on your business in terms of productivity will be 100 times more than you've ever had in the traditional style of training. And don't get me wrong, look, we're still doing workshops. They don't stop. Seeing the whites of people's eyes that's how training works. But we're now backing it up with other methods. E-learning and a more blended approach. But the key thing is having a business coach sat with somebody every 8 weeks. And that doesn't matter whether they're doing a recruitment apprenticeship, a customer service apprenticeship, a management apprenticeship. Every 8 weeks, that business coach is sat with you. Show me what you've learned. Show me how you've put this into the business. Show me what impact it's had. And that's how learning and development teams can survive, because they can prove their ROI. And that's always been the burning question, isn't it? How do you prove ROI? Well, I can tell you that it was all down to me, but let's be honest, it probably wasn't. Now we can. Now we can really prove that ROI. Yeah, so ultimately what you really want is the business coach also to be a trainer as well, so they know everything about that. So they're the subject expert of that. They have to be anyway to be awarded the assessor qualification for that particular area of expertise. But yeah, I think they have to sit within the learning and development team. It's what makes it a great team, because you are giving 360 learning effectively. Whereas before, I would argue 180 at best. It amazes me how many organisations I talk to where the training department is just still a luxury within their organisation, so that they can almost tick the ISO box to say, yes, we develop our staff. And I think that's still what happens so much. How many of them actually record return on investment within an organisation? And it's not just ROI. We concentrate on the productivity. What impact does an L&D department have to the productivity of the business? Because that's ultimately why the business exists. How many L&D departments are doing that? In my experience, very, very few. Don't be scared of the apprenticeship programs. Don't be scared of taking people through this new process. And more importantly, don't be scared about talking to providers as well, where you don't have the skills and expertise. I was telling the story earlier that I went to an organisation recently and I talked to them about a management development programme that we could put in place. Now, if you talk to any organisation that has never had that, their response is this: what's the catch? I've had that said to me so many times. What's the catch? Why would I go and deliver to another organisation their management development programme at no cost to them? Well, Mr. Client, because I'm going to utilise your Levy pot. That's how we're going to do it. Yeah. I went to this one particular business who had an established learning and development team. And I could just sense from the minute I walked in that there was a lot of job protection going on here. They've done their management development program for years, and this is how they've always done it. And they've probably got 10 out of 10 because they served really great coffee, etc. And I'm the last person they want walking into my organisation. But if they spoke to their finance director or their HR director, I think they'd have a different opinion on that. They really, really would, because the impact it can have is massive. So I'd encourage any learning and development manager, director, whoever it might be, to really seriously look at taking your organisation down the route of maximising Levy, not for 16 to 18-year-olds coming into the industry. Yes, you can do that, but utilise that pot for your existing staff. Because I think the statistic last year was something like 88% of the Levy pot was unutilised. 88%. That's insane. That's all that money there that you could be using for L&D. That's just insane. Insane.